counted inventory that night. They provided us a list of 3,000 items that were meant to be in the store. And we went and checked off. Can you find one of these? We checked it off. And we checked off 2,100 items. That was all that was in the store. So 900 items out of 3,000 were missing, 30% missing. And we concluded that if they didn't have 30% missing, they might sell more. Mm-hmm. And so we talked to them. We estimated, how much more do you think we could sell? And they said, well, there are many substitutions. Mm-hmm. So we said, okay, well, we can't be scientific here. Let's just assume half the time you get substitutions. Is that fair? Everybody nodded. So we expect 15% sales lift. Mm-hmm. Yes. And the margin on the products was about 60%. So we expect 15% of 60% to the bottom line. Yeah. And we calculated that, and we're like, oh, that would be a lot of money to the bottom line. That'd be, we're breaking even now on our big, high-profile stores. They're so expensive. The rent, we sign rent for 30 years, and we pay $8 million at closing just for the pleasure of signing the contract for the 30-year rent at the price that makes you weep. Mm-hmm. And even when we sell millions of euros worth of goods during the year, and we make 60% margin, all that 60% adds up to enough to barely pay the rent on the store. And so we break even on all these wonderful stores. But they build our brand, so we do it to build a brand. It's important.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at maybe going to something like 10% net profit out of these stores if we can realize 15% sales lift. Mm-hmm. Wow. So we tried it. And I want to tell you, we knew absolutely nothing about what we were doing. I mean, we knew theoretically, but practically speaking, we were absolute babes. And in 3 weeks, the shortages in the store dropped from 30% to 5%, and the same store sales increased 100%.
Sorry, the store sales increased 100%.
Right.
Okay.
Same store sales went up 100%. And I tried not to blink when that happened. They say, well, how do you show confidence? Well, you don't blink when something absolutely stupid happens and you have no idea why. So I acted like I knew what was going on. And I called up Ellie Goldrat and I said, Ellie, why will the sales go up 100% when the shortages were only 30% and half the time we expect we have substitutions?
Right.
And he says, well, clearly the things that they're out of can't be selling at the same rate of speed as the things that they have too much of.
Right.
I mean, in fact, the things they have too much of, they didn't sell anything. The things they ran out of, they must have sold more than they expected, right?
Right.
And I'm like, ugh. And so the question is, how much faster were those fast sellers selling than the average seller even? And so we started to push buttons on the calculator, and we came up with, for them to be already out so soon in the season, they had to be selling 50 times faster and 25 times faster and 15 times faster. And these were enormous losses from these fastest movers. They were unexpectedly fast movers. And so when we realized that there was a curve like this, that these ones were the only ones that were out, and they were the only ones that could really produce substantial throughput and substantial sales, and were annoying customers when they weren't there. I mean, it's the presence of those items that made the store a nice place to go for customers. Which so then there's word of mouth to get other people in. Right. And all that happened. But it only happened after the fact that we were able to make an explanation for why the heck such a thing occurred.
Can I just stop on that one? Because for some of us it's fairly well known, and those numbers are more spectacular than usual. Before, they didn't really realize that although they were missing inventory, they were missing inventory because they were selling so well, right?
Yes.
And so it was this very strange but quite common situation where in distribution, the slow movers are there and on the shelves,
right?
And the fast movers, or the would-be fast movers, are not there, can't sell, and so you put them in and suddenly your sales explode.
And really, think about it from their point of view. They've never seen, what can happen. Yeah. I had some suspicion because they had made a new running shoe. All the big runners knew about it and wanted one.
Yeah.
And so I asked for the history for the previous season. What happened
Yeah.
with this? Well, I said, "What's your best seller?" This is how we got onto this conversation. And they said, "Well, it came into the store 3 weeks into the season. The first pair came into the store in size 10." And so, how long before it sold? It sold the same day it came in.
Okay.
And then it was 3 weeks before we got 2 pairs in, and they sold in 2 days. And then we were out of it for 3 months, and we got 6 pairs in because we realized it was really selling well, and they sold in a week. And that was the only shoes that we sold in that store of the size 10, which was a very popular size for the whole season, for the 6-month season. So they're selling at the rate of 1 a day, and we've only sold 10 or whatever, 6, 9. We've only sold 9 pairs for the season, for a half year. So I had some idea that things like that we needed to fix. But if you think about it from their point of view, they don't really see it,
Yeah, of course.
right? They didn't see, if they looked back at their ERP system and said, what were the big sellers? This would not show up. It was a good throughput per shoe, but not very many shoes sold, so it wasn't an important item.
Yeah.
And they do have a feeling, I think they have instinct that our store's not looking so good. When people come in, they're not very happy with it. The people working in the store, I think they know that. And they criticize the merchandisers for not being clever about giving goods that the public will really appreciate.
Yeah.
But that never occurs to them, I don't think, that there was a problem. They didn't know there was a shortages in the store of 30%.
As you know better than I do, the violently strange thing that means they're blind to a lot of things is they don't know what their missed sales are, because every time you should try and note down, I missed that one.
Right. And
he asked for it, I didn't have it.
And once we realized there were shortages and there was a possibility for 15% more sales, that galvanized us. But to get 100% more sales, holy moly. It was, this is the holy grail.
Right, okay.